Good evening, everybody, and welcome to Brazil 81 for IIRL Season 7. And this is a very special occasion for the league, as it is the 400th race of IIRL. And we have currently with us 17 drivers making up the grid tonight, and we hope that this will be a very entertaining race for you all. You just have me tonight for the stream, as you will see in the list of names that are racing. You will find an angry corgi who is on the track tonight. So he has been kicked out of the commentary box, and he has been forced on track. And we have a sprint weekend for this very special 400th race at Brazil. Of course, very iconic track, and I know a lot of these drivers absolutely love this circuit. And hopefully, I mean, if I was on track, I wouldn't want any rain. But I mean, for the entertainment purposes of you lot, I very much hope there's rain. That way you lot can enjoy the racing and the very close battles that should be on track. So as we get underway tonight, we have a few. We do have 18 drivers in the race tonight. We have, I think it's 8 reserve drivers. Of course, the 81 standings, the constructors title fight is already over, with Mercedes having won that with Exotic Plains and Björn Beast. However, the driver's title is yet to be decided. However, we do have a Exotic Plains leading that constructors battle, the driver's title fight, and second is Björn Beast, who is not racing tonight, and third place is Willow, who is currently 50 points behind Exotic Plains in the title, with tonight included 5 races to go, as we have the penultimate round of sprint races, with the last one coming at Qatar in 2 rounds time, in 2 weeks time as well, with us having Brazil tonight, Vegas next week, Qatar afterwards, Abu Dhabi, and then the race at Suzuka taking place because it was cancelled earlier in the season. So as we get underway, we do have a short sprint quali session in which the drivers will have 12 minutes to set their times, and unlike Tuesday night, if you had seen it, go back and watch it. It was very fun to race in. It was dry qualies, but wet races. So the first car on track tonight is going to be Cod Camper in the Alpine. So we will have to see how he gets underway. He is, of course, on the medium tyres, as it is a sprint session. They only have, I think is it 2 sets of softs or 1 set of softs? Not 100% certain, but we will have to see how this gets underway tonight, as Cod Camper is now on his outlap with the mediums. Of course, a big talking point in the last week of this world has been the latest addition to the game of the new smoke that they patched, in air quotes. So we will have to find out how that affects the drivers on tonight. It didn't actually, when in wet from my running, it doesn't affect the drivers too badly. However, in the dry, it can be a very big nuisance, as God Camper sets 17.6 in Sector 1 will get us underway with a little marker. He has got another Alpine ahead of him in Gertie Steve, who is on an outlap. So, and he gets out the way very nicely for Gertie, for God Camper to, as he has a little moment there into Vico de Pato, I think that was. Do not come to me about pronunciations, I just will not bother with them. But he has a nice little run up to the line. Of course, DRS open, takes the shortest possible line to the finish line, and goes P1 with a 108.2. And as always with these times are always quicker than me. So next up to the line is John, who does I think an invalidated 110, but he is not going again. So Samantha crosses the line with a 108.7. Of course, she is one of our 82 reserves tonight, as we have Nifty crossed the line to a 109.2. He is, of course, currently third in the 82 standings behind myself and Greg, who is also running tonight, as we get a flurry of times crossing the board, with Greg doing a 108.4, Jakob doing a 108 flat, and Exotic doing a 107.7, and Willow doing a 107.3. As Gertie comes to the line next, he goes behind his teammate for the night in with a 108.3, as we see a Merc go across the line in Alex. He was also a reserve tonight, 109.2. And John comes across the line again to do a 110.9, but I imagine this is his flying lap now. Let's watch Corgi on the rest of his run. Of course, usually in the commentary box, but he is out on track tonight, looking to gain some practice for Sunday's 82 race, where him and Nifty are, of course, teammates, but tonight they are rivals. He goes purple in Sector 2, but we don't believe those remarks. And as he comes to the line, he gets a very nice toe from the Ferrari, and goes P10 with a 108.5 on the mediums. So the last car currently on a lap that hasn't set a time is DeflatedWee. So let's see what he can do. Of course, finish as John goes P2 with a 107.5. Of course, we finished, I think, P2 or P3 on Tuesday. Of course, it was a wet race, in which Exotic Planes actually won the no assist race on Tuesday. And as he comes into the basically just straight sector of Sector 3, it's a 51.6 in Sector 2, and Exotic goes fastest with an exact time, with the exact same time as Willow, but of course Willow set his time first. So Deflated goes P4 with a 107.7, closer to 8 though. Willow and Exotic have set the exact same times here tonight. That is an incredible start to this weekend, this race setting. So next up to the line, to start a lap is not Samantha. It's going to be Chaz next to the line to set an approximate time. It goes P3 with a 107.4 with a 107.464. Oh, that guy will be boxing. We have a Ferrari about to start a lap in Nifty Nasri. So let's watch Nifty Nasri here. Of course, is third in the 82 standings and is probably one of the favourites to get the title, as he has won quite a few races. He won in Mexico on Sunday. We'll have to see if this practice can help him in getting to the 82 title. It comes up through the fast right-hander here. Of course, traction is very difficult to come by. He goes very nicely. They're not too heavy on throttle. Ooh, little bit of a snap there. He's not playing the card game, unfortunately. Doesn't use all the curb, but puts on his overtake straight away. And hits, so I thought he was going to finish a lap, but he did not. So Samantha is next across the line, goes up one place. I believe she set her first run on the mediums, so she is still on them now, so she might have enough time to get round to the pits and try again. Next up to... who is next on a... Alex here is on an out lap. Of course, is another one of our reserves tonight, so we'll see what he can do. Let's watch his out lap, his hot lap, to see what he can create. He goes across the line to start his lap, very wide into turn one, that you have to be, straight onto the power. Does not use all of his battery yet, but he takes turn 4 very nicely. Lovely up there. The fast right-hander. Of course, any driver that is currently on a lap now, this will be their final run of the session, because they will not be able to box again. But as we see, a lot of the drivers are on outlaps here, so they will. This will be everyone's final attempt to get as high up the grid as they can. So Alex comes to the line, doesn't use all the track, but improves by 1/10. So it's going to be very fun to keep track of all these drivers, but this is Sam's final run. Goes up to P13, but of course is on the mediums, so I wouldn't be shocked to see her bogged down as all the other drivers are on softs here. So Greg is next to the line. He's going to start his lap. Then we have John also starting a lap. We will try and figure out who is going to be the first car to cross the line, as Exotic goes first with a 106.9. Willow is starting a lap. Jacob is also starting a lap, so it's going to be the Aston Martin of Sun God he has stayed P16 ahead of Alex by 300s as Alex stays 17th. This is very confusing for my head right now. Corgi has finished. That guy has invalidated. DeflatedWee, of course, my NA teammate, is coming to the line now, and he P3 just across the line. So everyone coming across the line now will finish. Nifty goes P15. Greg goes P11. That is John State goes up to P3. Rothwell goes up to P9. And Johnny P crosses the line next. Willow will be next across the line. He will be looking for pole, and he gets it by a 10th to Exotic Plains. And that is big for the championship here. So next across the line with a time will be one of the Alpines. Oh, it's not going to be called Camper, as I think everyone has not been able to improve here. So that will be the end of our qualifying session for the Brazilian Grand Prix. I think very good qualifying there. Of course, Willow getting it by 10th is always very close, and how these drivers get into the 6s, I do not know. I think the biggest surprise of quali there might actually be Rothwell in P10. Of course, good evening, Snacks. I hope you are well. I hope you are being very supportive right now and giving all the tips that are relatively possible to the drivers that you are supporting. So, as we end our qualifying there, we have Willow P1, Exotic P2, and Chaz P3. Yeah, I will. Thank you. You've been very eventful on the grid. Very eventful off the grid too. As we get, we will now have a 3-minute break until. Good evening, Alex. I hope you are well. Looking forward to seeing what you can produce tonight. And I'm hoping you can produce some, maybe getting into a points paying position in the race, maybe. Good evening, Johnny B. I hope you are well and looking forward to this race tonight. And since you are here, does anyone have any weather information? Because it's looking very dry for the sprint race. But is there any rain scheduled for the qualifying or the race itself? To put a little sprinkle into the. I do not very much blame you, and Alex, I believe in you. Have faith in yourself, mate. You have got this. We'll see. Just see what happens. There could be a safety car that could throw a spanner in the works, but just wait and see. You never know what's going to happen. So we will wait to see what these drivers. I mean, I am 99% sure that most of these drivers are going to be on the mediums, and there won't be much strategy in play unless maybe a little late sprint safety car could throw a little bit into the mix. but I'm not going to be expecting much in terms of strategies. I mean, of course, we're talking about Interlagos here, where it is a very big fan favourite track. And this is the race that a lot of people would love to see as the final race in the real life calendar. However, of course, Abu Dhabi decides to ruin that and decides to make it a very big spectacle. But the racing there has always not been so good. So a lot of these drivers will be looking forward to this race with what's to come in Qatar and Vegas in the weeks to come. Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't say you've been struggling. I would definitely say you've been improving, Alex. I think, like, you're definitely improving week in, week out. I mean, of course, a lot of these drivers are much more experienced than yourself in the field, because a lot of them have been league racing for years and years. But like I said, it's an F1 race where as long as you're still in the mix, as long as you're still on track, you can anything can happen, and who knows what could happen in your race. So as we get underway for the formation lap here, of course Willow setting us off, because we have 19 drivers for the sprint race, so I imagine there will be some very hard close racing. Of course, Willow, of the drivers on track. Oh, thank you very much, Snacks. I was going to get on that one. Yeah, that one and that one. Okay. So this is very interesting. So we have 4 of the drivers going to be starting on the soft tyres, and in my professional, very big racing expert knowledge, in my head, I think that will benefit them off the start, but I don't think the softs will make it to the end. Of course, it is only a 12-lap sprint race, but I don't see how this could play into Chaz's hand, especially when it comes to fighting Willow and Exotic for the win. So as all the drivers line up on the grid, we have got a very 82 heavy grid tonight. Of course, a lot of these drivers will be racing on, some of these guys will be racing on Sunday, in which both championships are up for grabs. And this is the view we get given in this world, as 5 red lights and away they fly. And as we wait for the catch up to, Exotic tries to move on the inside from the line, of course turns to the outside of turn 2 through the Cenaresses, and Exotic is past Willow here. So as we have a little Rothwell losing out in some places off the start, but at the front it is Exotic, Chaz, and Willow and Chaz getting off. Chaz is going to try and make the use of his softs to stay ahead, as we have a lot of smoke being produced by these cars. Willow is looking at the back of, as we have Ferrari of Rothwell, who was round. I wonder if he was involved in some contact there, that he'll be looking to get back into this race. As we end lap 1 here, we have Exotic will set the first fastest lap of this race, as DRS has been enabled. So Alex loses a couple of places, but has a look at Sun God and is on the inside. Gives Sun God a lovely amount of room, but Alex gets overtaken by Sun God. Let's see how John gets past Wee on the exit of turn 4. But Chaz goes for a big dive on Willow there. And it doesn't seem like these soft tyres are being as effective as they would hope. Willow and Exotic are playing very, very good races in the venue. Of course, they don't want to fight that much, otherwise the Williams of BRT Jacob and John, maybe even DeflatedWee, they're all still in this race and could all still be in a chance of the win here at the moment. Oh, it's a Ferrari, or that's not Ferrari, Samantha has gone round in turn 3. It's very unfortunate for her race. We go back to the leaders, the entire grid from 1st to 14th is all within a second of the car ahead of them. And Smaller Smiley gets past Greg there, but Greg does look back at the Haas. This is a very lovely battle. We'll have a look to see if Greg will make any move into turn 1. And Chaz gets our first 3-second time penalty, but he is round in the grass. I wish we had replays to see what happened there. Maybe he just got too much on the grass or on the curb maybe and just lost it. No, that soft tyre has not worked for Chaz there. As we go back to the front of the grid, you have got way too many cars to count in close proximity of each other. After Chaz did have his moment, maybe we will find a good screenshot moment here. This Willow does not try anything on Willow does make the move. Of course, these two are fighting for the championship at the moment. Sun God makes a move on Nifty into turn 4, and Gertie Steve gets the second time penalty of the race and spins going through the fast right-hander. Has a little spin moment. Doesn't lose out too much, but his soft tyres may be on the way out already. So the soft tyre was definitely a gamble, but it hasn't paid off. Exotic has made the move, and so has Jacob. They've both made it through on Willow here. Of course, Exotic will not have the DRS into turn 4. But no one is close enough to make the pass. Ooh. Have a look down the grid. Small Smiley has overtaken an angry Corgi into turn 4. And Corgi does have his teammate behind. And looks like Gertie Steve might have had another spin moment as he turned on his ghost muscle. But no, Jacob is not close enough to Exotic to make a move, but Willow will look at the back of Jacob here. Will he attempt anything into turn 1? And he does not. We go back to see what the gaps are, to see if anyone else is going to make a move. We have Sun God making a move on Gertie Steve into 1 as Nifty gets and Rothwell get time penalties now. So that will probably be the end of a chance of them getting points, as it is only the top 8 that get points. Willow is on the back of Jacob here into that second place spot. As we see with the soft runners, that the gamble clearly hasn't paid off, as they all are at the back of the grid, with the exception of that guy who is currently 2/10 off Johnny B in the McLaren, and he is not within touching distance of the McLaren. Jakob has a moment going through the center S's here, so he will definitely be looked at by Cod Camper, and Cod Camper has made the move. Yet again, at the front of the grid, all drivers will have DRS here, so there will be no advantage. They might very well be stuck in the train for the rest of this race. But Willow does look down the inside of Jacob. It will turn to the outside for the center S's, but he makes the move past. Very well done there from the Sauber F1 kick something. Stake F1 team kick Sauber, there we are. Jakob makes the move back past Cod Camper, of course. The lead driver of this train will not have DRS, so we do have currently 2 trains and 4 trains and a couple of drivers in the middle. As you can see, DeflatedWee is at the back of this train here, so he will be very much hoping that he can find his way onto the podium ahead of John and Jacob. A lot of drivers having red flashing lights, so they are burning a lot of DRS here. As Cod Camper makes the move back past Johnny B as well, and Greg makes the move past Nifty. A lot of smoke coming back off these cars as John makes a move on, or has a look at a move on Jacob, but gets very squirmed out and loses the place to DeflatedWee as well. As Jacob now has a little moment on the fast right-hander, and is now at the back of this pack. The DeflatedWee has now found his way into P3, but does have an 8/10 gap to Willow. So if that gap goes further in a second, he will not have DRS to the front two, and the front two could DRS off each other for the next 2 laps. Podcamper makes a move back past, so we might be seeing a lot of swapping there. Nothing has changed, but I imagine Jacob will not make the move past. But this pack is as Sun God makes a move past Nifty, and Chaz and Gertie Steve are side by side going up to turn 6. Rothwell will be Chaz backs out of that. These drivers are very much going to be struggling on the softs, as Gertie Steve now goes onto the grass and spins. And Samantha also spins and gets passed by Alex here. We are now on the final lap of this sprint race, and John has passed Wee, and Small Smiley has passed Johnny B, and Greg has passed Angry Corgi. Of course, this whole pack is very close together, and Sun God, very argy-bargy there between Sun God, Nifty, and Corgi. But as we come to the final straight of the race, Willow will have DRS, and you'll have to wonder how much battery has he saved through Chun Sao. Exotic might have gotten a little out of shape there. We'll have to see how much Willow gains, but I think Exotic will have this to the line. Of course, he takes the shortest run to the line, and he does get it. Exotic finishes P1, Willow P2, John gets the final podium place in P3, Deflated P4, Jacob P5, Podcamper P6, Jacob P7, Smiley P8, Johnny B P9, and as everyone else comes to the line now, as the ones who decided to risk it on the softs, of course that guy having a very good sprint race to be able to stay in as Alex and Samantha cross the line now. As Smaller Smiley gets the games driver of the day. I think, of course, this being the sprint race, only the top 8 get the points, so Smaller Smiley, who started P15, will cross the line to get the final points paying position of P8, making up a lot of ground in the race. Of course, Exotic gains a point in Willow in the Constructors Fight 481's Drivers' Championship. Forgot what I was saying there. Alex, you managed to, of course you weren't at the front of the grid, but that's all it's about, is improving, and you have shown very capably that you were able to not finish last, and I think you clearly are very happy with that. So if you can channel this practice that you are getting now, and then you can put it into 82 on Sunday, we might be seeing you. Would it be your first points of IIRL if you were to get a top 10 on Sunday? I might have to wait as we wait for confirmation of that. We can turn telemetry stuffs back on. So, of course, now we have the short qualifying session for the main race. As we have a Williams of that guy, who is the first out on track. And we will have to see what happens in the race, of course. As I said at the start of the stream, this is a big milestone in IIRL's history. This is their 400th race. So the driver chosen to be driver of the day will win £15, Great British Moolah, which will be chosen actually by the drivers of the league, in which I will pick the 3 or 4 drivers that I think are worthy of driver of the day, and those 4 drivers will then get put into a poll, in which the driver who wins will officially be crowned driver of the day. So as that guy is first on the lap, he sets a 17.5 as he invalidates coming out of turn 4 into 5, actually, as I have just looked over into the IIRL chat, and Snacks has been very generous and gifted 5 subs. So Snacks is being very generous to the league and to the 5 drivers that have been given a sub. I would thank Snacks. So, who is going to cross the line to... I think it is an Alpine of Pod Camper is going to be the first to set an official lap time. Sets a 107.5, of course he was the first driver to set a lap. Oh, as we have Top Gun join the lobby now for this qualifying session, missed the start of the sprint race by a couple of seconds. But as Nifty has crossed the line to go with a third with a 107.9, John has just done a 107.5 here. Next across the line will be a Red Bull of... It's not a Red Bull. It was a RB of Greg, across the line with a 108.1. Now we have an Alpine about to start a lap, but we have a Williams and that guy about to finish theirs and goes P3 with a 107.7. Johnny B goes P4 with a 107.8. And we have a Ferrari going across the line in Rothwell with a 108.1. Yes, you did, Alex. You did finish P16 as the two. I think the 2 drivers who finished ahead of you had penalties. So you didn't cross the line last, and I think you'll be very happy with that. It's all about those little gains, my man. So, as we have a little flurry of people coming up to the line, we have a John who is going to cross the line to start another run. I think he has decided to... Oh, it was P8. Did I say P16? That might have been my bad. I am not 100%. I think it was P16, but because we only had 19 drivers in of course, and John setting a first sector time that is 0.1,000 slower than his first lap time. So we have Samantha go across the line next, who crosses the line P9, and we have a Sun God about to cross the line next. See what he can do, and takes that P9 off Samantha. So John will be the next car to cross the line. But John will come to the line and does cross the line to go P1 ahead of Cod Camper by 100th. A lot of these drivers have not set lap times as of yet, but Gertie will be next to cross the line and goes P10 ahead of Sun God and Samantha. And I believe Samantha has just improved her race time by quali time by 0.5 of a second, but stays P12, but does close the gap on Sun God and Gertie Steve. Well, I do not believe any of the drivers out on track are on laps currently, as Snacks in chat has wished a congratulations to all the drivers that to IIRL for reaching 400 races. Honestly, I don't know how many races I've been here for. I know it's not been all 400. But honestly, congratulations to the league and everything that they've done for all the drivers over the years, and the ones that will come into the league in the future, and hopefully have as much enjoyment as a lot of these drivers out on track have, including myself. So Samantha is currently on a lap right now. She is on the mediums, still got plenty of time to go in the session, so she will have enough time to do this run and another one or two, depending of the choices. Going through the long left hand currently. It's very nice, doesn't get all squirmish on track. But does set purple sets too, but we don't believe that for a second because we know what this game is like. Coming up to the line, she doesn't have a lot of ERS to play with to coming up to the line. It does go up to P10. So as I have a little technical issue with the streams, we have had Top Gun go up to P4 if he was not already there, but Willow has just crossed the line with a 107 flat. That is a very good lap time from him. We have a Haas next up to the line, which is Jakob. He comes up to the line and goes P6 for the 107.8. John is on a outlap, so we'll see his time any second now. Chaz has invalidated his lap. The smallest Smiley goes P10 with a 108 flat. Sun God is now starting his lap. Let's put Sun God on his lap, and I will do my best to keep an eye on all the drivers coming to the line. Oh, very nice. As Exotic has now gone P1 ahead of Willow with a 1.69.9. Oh, that is a very good lap, and even though that time will be beaten, as Jacob has just gone P3 here. Sun God coming up to the start of sector 3 here. The Haas does not get in his way, but he does have ERS to play with here, and has his overtake on the entire time, but goes up to P15 with a 1.108.3. Oh, next is the Haas of Gertie Steve, who is a 108.2. And the other Alpine of Kotkampa was not able to improve. Exotic Planes comes into the pits, and we have a Williams of Jacob was not able to improve either. As Rothwell has crashed out in sector 2. Unfortunately, there is not a... If I can get to the... Oh, the mechanics have sent his car to the magic realms. We were not able to see what happened now, but I'm sure a clip of that moment will come up in due course. We have a Red Bull next to the line to start a lap. It is Samantha. And then we also have I think that's Greg coming. That's not Greg coming to the line, but it's Greg currently on a run. It doesn't have much ERS at the moment. We do have Top Gun, who is on a run, so we'll see what he is 2/10 up, coming out of sector 2. See what he can do coming up to the line. And goes P6. A lot. Wow. It has just occurred to me how close P4, how close, well, I mean, 1st to 12th is within, 1st to 13th, 1st to 15th is all 1.3 seconds here. That's how close this grid is tonight. Of course, Brazil is a very short track as well, so these close gaps are going to be expected, as Corgi is P13. Alex is on a lap currently. Let's see what he can bring out his locker. He is not completing his lap. He has set his ERS to none, so he will not be finishing his lap. Has he done that to save ERS, maybe? He turns it off, but does set a 19.5. A 9.5. As we has done a 21.2. I don't know how he's brought that out as local, but you know. Right, so we have Chaz, who is about to start a lap here. So we'll see what Chaz can do. Good evening, Rids. I hope you are all right. Yeah. Thank you very much for the very kind message for the league's 400th race. It feels like an absolute privilege to be here, to be able to bring you this stream. And as you may see, my co-commentator is in P13 currently, so he is out on track rather than in the commentary box. Of course, he has as much of a love for Brazil as me. We have a minute and 25 seconds left of this session, in which all of the drivers bar the two V carbs are out on the track currently. So we will see what Chaz can do coming up to the line. Hang on, he's starting one now. My mistake. We've had one retiree going up the fast right-handers in Rothwell, as Wee has retired in the pit lane, so he is maybe doing a last to first challenge here. Exotic crosses the line to go P1, and Alex stays P19, so I think that's the end of his quali. As a lot of these drivers start their final runs now. Cod Camper has just started one now, and there are so many cars out on track. But we see McLaren in Johnny B put into the pits. That guy has retired from the session in the pit lane, so he is done from this session. And we have John's for line first. And he does go P2. As we have Nifty, who stays P13. And the two V-carbs. No, that's not a V-carb. Either way, we have Exotic is not on a lap. Neither is Alex. So next up to the line is Top Gun, who is the 10th up after his sector 2. Exotic retires in the pit lane. He is, of course, done from this session. And Top Gun does go up to P5. Cod Camper stays P7. As next up to cross the line are the two Hasses. Jakob has invalidated, and the small smiley comes into the pit, so they are staying where they are. Greg is next, stays P16, and then we have a Red Bull of Samantha who stays P14. So that is the end of our qualifying session here tonight. Exotic is P1, Jacob is P2, and John is P3. I imagine Willow will not be very happy with 4th place, but he will be looking to make places in the race. Yeah, Alex, you should be very happy with yourself. You're within 4/10 of Sun God, so that you can be very happy with that. And like, as long as you know where the time, as long as you know for the future reference where time can be made up, you will be absolutely fine for the future, my friend. And good evening to Goldilocks. Welcome to the 400th stream, or the 400th league race of IIRL. And I am very happy and privileged to be able to bring this race to you tonight. There will be £15 given to the driver of the day. That the shortlist for driver of the day will be selected by myself, but the actual driver of the day will be selected by the drivers of the league. The DeflatedWee has started will start P20, but as we go back up to the front of the grid, Exotic is P1 and sets a 106.8, and Jacob and John rounding up the top 3, only 2.5 tenths back, with Willow in P4, who is also 2.5 tenths back. So as we now go on to the 5-minute break, giving the drivers to do whatever they so need to do. So as we wait to find out what strategies drivers are going to be, it does look very dry, unfortunately, because the NA race on Tuesday was wet races and dry qualies. So I think most of the drivers will be happy that there is no rain. So a little bit of knowledge on the Interlagos circuit. It's called Interlagos because it is Portuguese for in between two lakes. And the Grand Prix circuit that is currently raced on today is 2.678 miles or 4.3 kilometers. And of course, the Interlagos circuit used to be the final race on the calendar in real life, as we give thanks to Snacks for the... What is a kilometer? Yep, we got to include both the imperial and metric measurements for the ones that do not know what a kilometer is. So, I mean, this time that between the two races, me and Corky have I think this track is a perfect length. Of course, there is more. There are loads of different layouts that the track could be raced on, but I think this one that they've got currently is quite nice. It was the time that between the end of quali and the start of the race, me and Corgi have called it time, because we have had a thing for time zones, and I do not know what time it is in Brazil right now, but I am sure that it is quite early on in the day. So that is your fact of the times in Brazil, depending how you think of it right now. As I have just been informed by Iritza, it is currently 5:34 in Brazil, so it is the early afternoon / evening in Brazil, which is, to me, prime time for racing. I actually thought it would be earlier considering where they are in the world, but we take it as it does. So we'll have to wait and, of course, turn the center S's of turn 2 and 3 through the Curve del Sol are very prone for track limit penalties, so we'll have to wait and see to see how many. We'll have to wait and see to see how many penalties the drivers do receive and how many potentialities for changes in positions. As I do know what time we were going, but I have just been informed that there is a timer for the start of the formation lap. As Alex wishes good luck to people in the chat, and Codcamper has thanked Snacks for the gifted sub that he sent earlier on in the stream. That's the wrong one. As we look at all the tyres, we see Alex is the only driver starting on the softs. We'll have to see how that plays out for him. So, we have got 1, 4, 5, 6, 8 drivers on the... As SunGod and Alex have been disqualified, so there must have obviously been a little bit of contact between the two cars. Maybe one of them getting caught out by the other in some sort of way. As Exotic gets us round this... I forgot what length the track was. We'll have to see how this race turns out for Alex, as we have a very big gap between Greg and Deflated at the back of the grid, according to the track map, as Alex informs me that he did accidentally press the alternative strategy, but that is not to worry. The softs may be a good starting tyre. You might have to pit early on, but who knows what can happen. Could be an early safety car that might help you off those tyres very quickly. Whereas all the drivers now come up to their grid boxes. Of course, the medium runner of John will be very much looking to get past Exotic and Jacob in the first couple of laps, while his mediums are the better tyre. As we start this race, it is a 5 lights and away they fly on the run down to turn 1 from this terrible view. You can see the two V-Cubs getting a good start, and John does make the move on Jacob and has a look at Exotic, but Exotic does make a better start, as it does seem all 20 cars are through safely, as Willow has spun. The championship rival has to Exotic Planes has spun here, and as we see Jakob come back onto the grid after going off track. John has been able to use those medium tyres to its effect to get past Jacob into turn 1. I do not know exactly what happened between Willow and whoever I had contact with, but as we have SunGod, who is now fallen off the back of the pack as well. Alex will be hoping to use his medium soft tyres to get underway. He's got Corgi ahead of him, another 82 driver. As John is on the back of Exotic going through the center S's, he will very much be looking for DRS to help him make a pass. as Alex has made the move, and John has made the move into first, into turn 4, and Top Gun has made the move on that guy. Hang on. Thank you very much, Next. We do have a sort of settling down with the gaps at the moment. We will have to see what happens later in the race with the difference between the medium and the hards and the strategies that could be affected. It is usually a one-stop round this circuit, at least in this world. So we'll have to wait and see. But John does set, and the fastest lap times are scrolling through at the moment. Small Smiley has just done the latest one of a 1:09.8. The Corgi has made the move on Alex. Maybe those soft tyres are already... As we have DeflatedWee make the move on Gertie Steve, who is now being looked at by Rothwell here. As Rothwell has a spin coming out of the fast right-hander. That is very unfortunate for his race. It does help Willow get back into this race. John is leading the way currently. Of course, started from P3. He has been passed by exotic planes. DRS, of course, coming into effect into turn 1. But John will have the DRS into turn 4. So he will be very much looking maybe to work with exotic planes here to try and create a gap to Jacob and Top Gun, who is also starting on medium. The current train is between first and P10 here. As we have had another spinner, it is Gertie Steve, who doesn't look to have any wing damage, but he has been very unfortunate there. We'll have to see how he comes back later in this race, see if there is a safety car or anything. And Smaller Smiley has made the move on Johnny B, and John has also been passed by exotic planes. Willow has made the move on Sun God, making his way back through the pack. He's got a 2-second gap to Alex currently. As Samantha and Corgi and Alex are in the middle. As Alex is looking at overtaking Samantha here, and gets the move done very nicely. So as we come back after a little thumbnail attempt, we do see that John has made his way back through on exotic planes, and this train from but who is that? That is Alex. That's not Alex. That is Gertie Steve, who has had a little moment as well. Maybe his hard tyres are not coming up to temperature. you see this pack here in the midfield, all within close distance of each other. And as Willow has now made his way past Alex, I imagine we'll see a... Oh, as Todd Camper has been, I think, spun, maybe? But he has had a little spin there. He's lost a bit of ground to that train, as now John has been passed by Exotic again, and Johnny B has made his way past Jakob. And Jakob will have DRS. As Sundod overtakes Alex as well, so I imagine his soft tyres might be going off now. Oh, as Johnny B and Jakob have run each other off track, I believe. And as Gertie Steve gets our first 3-second time penalty of the race. We'll take our way back up to the leaders of the top 5, or within in fact the top 6, or within about a second and a half. We'll have to see if any moves. Of course, John will get passed by Exotic, but Jacob and Top Gun are also looking, and Top Gun has failed to make the move, but Samantha has spun in the out on the exit of Jun Sao into turn 14. So we'll have to see if she has any wing damage, but she has stayed stationary there. I believe she does not have any damage, so she should be safe to continue here. As Rothwell has made his way past Alex as well. This top fight being our very closest bit of action, as Rothwell has had a moment out of turn 4 as well. As Snacks has confirmed to me that Samantha did get stuck on, maybe got a little beached up on a little grassy area. Of course, this track is very elevated, or has a lot of elevation changes even. But Jacob does make the move into 1. We'll have to see how this plays out in turn 4, as Exotic will have a DRS. Willow has now made his way back into up to P14. And Johnny B has made his way past that guy, with Jakob falling down the order a bit. Corgi has made the overtake back on Willow. But this top fight being our closest battle on track, or one of the closest battles, with P1 to 6 in the train and P7 to P11 in trains currently. As Exotic has made his way past Jacob. As I believe that is Samantha having another spin in sector 2, but as we see, the Williams of Jacob making it past John again, and that guy has made his way past Johnny B. Alex has now pitted off those softs. I'm surprised he took them 9 laps, to be honest. Of course, we saw the soft tyres in the sprint not end up going well for a lot of the drivers that started on them. as Samantha has also pit, so she has switched on to the mediums. Quite an early pit from there, might have had some damage. So we'll have to, as she has retired from the race, it's a very unfortunate situation for Samantha, being maybe caught getting stuck, as Snaxes had got stuck in the grassy, gravelly area of the circuit outside on the exit of Junsao. So I would imagine that we will see the medium, the crossover between mediums and hard start about now. I would expect to see maybe John start to lose a bit of ground to the two drivers ahead, as I love this onboard view of the cars. It creates a perfect atmosphere. John still is currently in DRS, but he is going to be looked at by Top Gun, and Top Gun does make the move past. I think Top Gun did just get DRS there, so he might be safe. No, he didn't. Oh, okay. So Top Gun does get passed by both John and Chaz into turn 4. Wee is continuing making his way up the pack and is now up to P10. So we'll keep an eye on his race. As Rothwell is the next driver to get a time penalty. Is very unfortunate for them. So the top 6 still within maybe 2.5 seconds now, as the gap from John to Exotic is now, as drivers now bolting into the pits. So we see Top Gun and John making their first pit stops of the race, the first and hopefully only pit stops of the race. Smaller Smiley has decided to continue for maybe 1 or 2 more laps. We'll have to see who gains out of this race. Jakob has made it past that guy into turn 4. But the top 2 are starting to build a gap, as Deflated and Cod Camper are battling here. And I think Gertie Steve has had a moment in the Terre del Sol, and he has now got his way back under running, but I think maybe he is starting to struggle on his hard tyres. Jacob has made his way past Exotic. Smaller Smiley has got a 10-second time penalty. Oh, that is so unfortunate for him. As maybe Jakob wanted to pit there. And Gertie has got a 10-second time penalty for cutting corners. Maybe, as we have had a spinner, and I'm not 100% sure who it was, but I think it might have been one of the McLarens who saw a yellow flag around one of their dot. And Top Gun has made the move past Smaller Smiley. Smaller Smiley getting very unfortunate and does have a 10-second time penalty, but the gap between Jacob and Exotic at the front of the grid is 3 tenths now, as Gertie has retired in the pit lane after getting that 10 seconds. It was a very unfortunate ending to his race. We'll have to see how we can bounce back, and I presume he will be running on Sunday if he is free. Jakob now decides to pit. Does not get a 10-second time penalty, fortunate for him. He does come out in it'll be P14 or 15. As you see, the closest battle on track currently is between that guy and DeflatedWee, as well as our top two. As a Ghosty Steve pulls off after his retirement in turn 4. We do have a 10-second gap between DeflatedWee and BRT Ches. And Jacob does get the move done on Exotic, but we'll have to see if Exotic will come back. In fact, we know he will. The DRS in this world is very good, but he doesn't. As John sets the fast as Corgi now pits for his pit stop of the race. We'll see how John is able to catch up to Nifty and Cod Camper here. As you would expect him on his fresh cards to now be up temperature. As we are coming up to actually the halfway mark in this race. This race, of course, does go very quickly, very short track. I imagine we'll see another switch between Exotic and Jacob for P1. As we do, I imagine they'll swap back into turn 4, as Alex is unfortunately getting the next time penalty of this race. As we see Nifty come in, Cod Camper continues, but Nifty does pull in, trying to go for the undercut. As we see a couple of fast laps fall in with Top Gun and then Smaller Smiley setting it. And Sun God now pits, but gets a 10-second time penalty. A lot of these drivers are falling for the time penalties. It's a very unfortunate situation to be in. I imagine we will see Cod Camper in soon. I don't know how his mediums are still on, to be honest. And the same with him and Rothwell. Don't know how their medium tyres are still on. As we see on the helmet cam, a lot of smoke coming off the back of that guy at DeflatedWee. We'll have to wait and see what Cod Camper does, but he stays out. And that guy has made the move back on Deflated, as Willow has fallen back 2 places on Smaller Smiley and Top Gun. And Rothwell has, I think, been overtaken by Corgi and Johnny B there, so I imagine Rothwell will be in this lap. As we see Top Gun, Smaller Smiley and Willow all in 8th, 9th and 10th place respectively. Of course, Willow having a spin earlier in the race. Guarantee will not be happy with himself, but will definitely be looking for a way back up the field. He's got 20... No, he hasn't. He's got 16 laps to do so. So I guarantee he will be able to do it. Top Gun makes a move on Small Smiley here. And DeflatedWee has made the move on that guy. I imagine those two will be in fairly soon. As we see, a moment for Top Gun as Corgi gets a time penalty. Oh, and I've just noticed that Top Gun does not have end plates on his front wing, so he has damage from a collision with someone. So he probably will have to pit again to the end for the end of this race. As Jacob at the front now pits, and Chaz and Exotic will continue on. Exotic does have a 6-second window to Chaz currently. That guy is also into the pits. And as we expect, Top Gun is in the pits to repair his front wing. So we'll have a little look to see if which they are going to. As cards, the Aston Martin's unfortunately not having a strong start mid-race. We'll have to see how Top Gun will come back in this race. Of course, he is quite pacey. So we've got we've got the top 4 yet to pit. We'll have to see how that. And as we have Corgi retiring from this race, it has brought out the virtual safety car. We'll have to see where he has gone off, but I think his car has already disappeared. And we, Cod Camper and Willow, are using this as their opportunity to pit. I think he is very lucky that he made it, as Cod Camper has pitted onto the softs. I don't think that is what he wanted, but either way, he is going to definitely try and maybe make it to the end on them. After what we saw in the sprint race, I do not know if his mechanics have got that wrong, and he's got a drive-through for speeding under the safety car. Oh, it's the safety car's now. The VSC has now finished. The drivers are getting underway, and Jakob has spun into the wall and lost his front wing. As Corgi has now left the track after retiring from this race in turn 6. Exotic now pits, but with the others having the benefit of the VSC, will the likes, how close will the likes of DeflatedWee, as Nifty has now left the session. Yeah, 100% Rids. Losing a front wing is, especially with the walls in such close proximity, can be really easy. And when you just have a little snap like that, you can't really control your car from there on, so you just go straight into the wall. So Exotic is currently P4. He did lose out to Small Smiley and Jacob, as Jacob has set the fastest lap and made the move on John. Rothwell has gone round again at the turn 5. So he will be looking to make up some ground again. I think he'll probably be hoping that there was a full course safety car. But I think the biggest gainer out of that VSC, as Roswell has gone off track again, but he has no front wing. As we were just talking about that, Rids, he has lost his front wing. So he obviously he must have had a snap on the exit of turn 4, and then that has sent him off into turn 5 and hit the wall. But Chaz is currently leading the way, as Rothwell unfortunately gets lapped in this race, as Jakob has been overtaken by Alex, as Chaz has now got a 10-second time penalty. That could potentially be really dangerous for the end of this race if Chaz makes up ground, and Rothwell has got one too. But Rothwell is going to retire from this race. He has decided to call this race after getting lapped, and DeflatedWee has made the move on Chaz in the pit lane. Of course, Chaz would have not served his 10-second time penalty in the pit lane, so he will have that burden for the end of this until the end of this race. That guy has made the move on Greg. Of course, he is on fresh-ish mediums. And Jakob has made the move on Alex into turn 1. We'll see if Alex can come back into this, as Chaz has got another 3-second time penalty for this race. We'll have a look at penalties after this. See if Alex can use DRS to get back up to the field, but he cannot, unfortunately for him. Might have got a warning there for track limits, but Exotic Planes with his fresh mediums is going to be looking at the back of John. As we have Jakob, who has gone off, probably as he hit the wall. He's got no front wing damage, so he might be fine, but he definitely had a little moment. As Chaz has now overtaken DeflatedWee to get back up into P5, and Willow has overtaken Nifty Nasri into turn 4 also. A lot of these drivers are using turn 4 as their overtaking spaces, as you would expect. And Jakob has now got 10-second time penalty. He has decided to retire from this race, unfortunately. We do have Jakob leading the way. BRT Jacob even, I think I said Jakob. As we now have Marlboro Sled, my 82 teammate, in the chat wishing the very greatest achievement of 400 races. I'm just going to remind you, 400 races in the history of IIRL. Of course, Marlboro Sled is a former 82 champion from season 5. Of course, was my teammate last season. We were ever so close to winning the constructors title as well, but unfortunately Sun God and someone else, can't remember who, I think it might have been Johnny B, but they did unfortunately win the constructors title ahead of when we were in the Ferrari. The gaps are starting to spread out here with only 7 laps left, but I imagine we'll be seeing a lot of swapping between Chaz and DeflatedWee till the end of this race. Thank you, Marlboro. Of course, we'll have to wait and see. There's still 5 races left, including Sunday, to see who will win the 82 drivers and constructors title. Of course, you've got a current 3-horse race between Greg, myself, and Nicky Nasri for the drivers, and then you have got V-Carb, Ferrari, Mercedes in the hunt for the constructors title too. As Cod Camper gets the next warning here, track limit penalty here, we've got Jacob has caught up to the back of Exotic Plains. He has got 2 laps older mediums, so you'll have to see what happens here between these 2 drivers. And as we expect, Chaz and Deflated have swapped places again. I imagine with 8 laps to go, this race is going to settle down a bit compared to its the first 8 laps we had when everyone was close together, with the gaps having spread out. But we do still have a fight for the lead here, as we'll have a look at penalties now. As so Smaller Smiley has 10 seconds. Chaz has 16 seconds. That guy, Pod Camper, have 3. SunGod has a 10-second penalty for speeding in the pit lane, and Alex has 9 seconds of accumulative penalties. So the gap between Jacob and Exotic is currently the talking point for the battle for the race lead. We'll have to see how they make work together to keep John off the back of them. We'll have to see the gap there, or see if their battling hinders them. Camper is still going on the soft tyres in P12 currently. Of course, I'm not sure if he was meant to pick the softs, so I'll have to see how that goes. For him, he might start falling back into the Aston Martin's grasp and Alex. We do have Deflated will make the move on Chaz again. Of course, those 2 will be swapping to try and catch up to Smaller Smiley. And then we have Greg, who is within DRS of Willow. But is not able to make any places. So the current battles on track are the current battle for P5 and the current battle for P1 and 2, with both drivers being within with both groups being within a second of each other. And Jacob does decide to sit back from an overtake right now, as we do see Top Gun has had a little spin into turn 6, causes as he has hit the wall again. Might be a potentiality of some wing damage here. This is very unfortunate for his race. I think he might have got beached there in the grass. But Jacob and Exotic are still... I think the gap is getting bigger, as Willow has overtaken that guy into turn 4. and we'll be looking at making a gap. Of course, that guy has got 3 seconds worth of time penalties, so he probably played it smart there. As that guy does get a 3-second time penalty, another one, so he does have 6 seconds worth of penalties. As Top Gun does pit again from this race, he will pit for the softs and try and go for the fastest lap. With 4 laps to the end of this race, he is unfortunately in P15, the last of the non-DNFers, the DNF drivers even, but he will still be able to maybe steal that fastest lap point. A smaller Smiley gets another 3-second time penalty. That is not what he would have wanted to see, as that guy has made his way past Willow again, with Jacob and Exotic being top 2 still. They are still the closest battle on track, other than the Chaz and Deflated, who have been swapping for laps, and Willow and that guy who have also been swapping. So we'll have a look at who has got the fastest lap at the current moment. It is Jacob with a 108.3. So that's what Top Gun will have to beat. He'll have to improve his current fastest time by about a second. But I imagine with times and fuel, he should be able to do so. Jacob did have a look at Exotic through turn 1, but through the S's he was behind for the DRS detection point, so he will be ahead at the end of it. We do have 3 laps left of this race, so I imagine we'll be seeing a bit of DRS chicken in the final lap for the run-up to the start-finish line after Jinsao. The gap between John and Exotic has stayed around that 4.5 second mark, as Deflated and Chaz are still trying to catch up to Small Smiley. I think with penalties they will jump ahead of the Haas, who has had a very good race to be up in P4. As Exotic and Jacob have swapped places again. I am truly not shocked at that. Will Jacob get back past going into turn 4? He does not, so he is looking to sit behind and maybe conserve some battery if he's having some battery troubles. As a thank you for the raid, Rose Comms F1, thank you very much for raiding this. This is for those joining us through the raid, this is the 400th IIRL race, and this is our 81 tier for Season 7. I am SOX, the current 82 driver, in the hopes for the championship there. Okay, thank you very much for that information. Cheering on their BRT friends. Jacob is currently in a battle for the lead with Exotic Planes, and Chaz unfortunately is P5, but he does have 16 seconds worth of penalty, so he will drop down. But our biggest gainer of the race so far is DeflatedWee, who has gained up 14 places after starting last on the grid after having a not so great quali. But we'll have to see how going into the final lap of this race everything goes. Well, the fight for the lead will be decided now. Could it be decided in turn 4? We'll have to see what games are being played between these two. So with the run through DRS, will Jacob make it past? He will not. Could that be the decisive moment of this race, that Jacob did not make it past? And that guy has made it past Willow, so... And DeflatedWee has made his way past Chaz as well. And Top Gun has, unfortunately, got a 3-second time penalty, as Deflated gets passed back by Chaz into turn 6. As Jacob has had a moment, so that will put Exotic Planes, that decisive forget turn 4, that was the decisive moment of this race that has won the race for Exotic Planes, and he will continue to develop his championship lead. And Jacob comes across the line P2 even with that spin. John has come across the line P3. Smallest finally crosses the line P4, but will drop down below Deflated and not below Chaz, because Chaz got 16 seconds. So Deflated crosses the line P4. What a race from him. Chaz P6, but Willow gets P5 after having a very poor start to this race. That guy crosses the line P8. Greg will be next in P9. Johnny B will get the last points paying position here. And Nifty crosses the line P11. And then rounding out the grid, we have Sun God and a COD Camper, who have unfortunately had time penalties. They will not be able to gain anything, but Alex has retired on the last lap, but COD Camper does. And from my commentator duo, that might be the decisive moment for Exotic's championship. Now, I'm not 100% certain of this information, but the gap is only 50 points between Exotic and Willow before this race. So we'll have to see how many points were gained and how many points are left. But Exotic has crossed the line to finish P1. John was P3, and Jacob, even with the mistake going out on the exit of Jun Sao, has crossed the line P2. As the champagne gets sprayed on the podium, we do have a lovely battle for the race win until the very last lap. So Exotic has scored 33 points and Willow has scored 17, which makes the gap 16 points more. So the gap will be 67 points. So that it is not the end of the championship yet. I think if it continues, if the races continue the way it has, with Willow maybe falling a bit back and Exotic crossing line P1, we could maybe see the end of the race, the end of the championship by Qatar, maybe in 2 races' time. I predict that's when it will happen. But we'll have to wait and see there. So that is the end of the race there. That is the end of the 400th IIRL race. It's been an absolute privilege to be here for however many I have. And it's been an absolute privilege to bring you the very 400th IIRL race. If you keep an eye in our Discord, if you are in it, you will be able to see who wins the driver of the day and that £15 for being driver of the day. But I imagine next week my commentator duo Corgi will be back with us to round out the end of this season 7 of IIRL 81 and seeing how Exotic can claim his championship. But that is the end of this race, the end of the 400th race, so I'm going to have to go off and decide who my candidates are for driver of the day. There were some very strong candidates there, some very strong races. But IIRL will be back on Sunday for 82 Brazil, where hopefully it will not rain, and the championship can be even closer decided for myself. Sorry, Greg. Sorry, Nifty. It's mine. So I hope you'll be back for that on Sunday. And then we'll be back for 81 Las Vegas next week, 7:30 p.m. UK time. Me and Corgi will probably be back here streaming for you to see if because all Exotic needs to do is outscore Willow by 21 points. So as long as Exotic outscores Willow by 21 points, that will be the Drivers' Championship in 81 over. So we'll be back here for Brazil on Sunday, 82, and then we'll be back for Vegas next week in Las Vegas for next week, 7:30 UK time. We'll be back here streaming it for you, me and Corgi. That is it from me. Everyone have a good week, and we'll see you back here Sunday, 7:30 p.m. UK time. Goodbye!